In today's show, Bitcoin network hash rate hits a new all-time high of 248.11 exahashes per second, further ensuring resilience against attacks on the Bitcoin network. And speaking of new all-time highs, here's the most bullish chart in Bitcoin, the number of Bitcoin addresses, which is always rapidly increasing, which also hit a new all-time high as well. And as crypto analyst me Calvin Day Pop shares here, don't be fooled by any move of Bitcoin during the weekend. In the end, the price will come back to CME close of Friday. And as pointed out here, banks will freeze your money when they disagree with you. Bitcoin fixes this, as Dennis Porter shares here. You literally can't freeze a Bitcoin transaction. Freedom of speech at its finest. And he also shares that by the end of 2030, the Bitcoin and digital asset industry will have more political power than the banks and military industrial complex combined. Very powerful words. And as Samson Mao shares here, the case for Bitcoin has never been clearer. The fiat monetary system is a tool for surveillance and oppression. Freedom of speech, freedom of assembly, and even the right to bear arms can be negated when money lacks censorship resistance, privacy, and fungibility. Also in today's show, we'll be discussing El Salvador's Bitcoin law, as well as understanding alternatives to government intervention as Bitcoin mass adoption continues. Also in today's show, here's what's next for Bitcoin and Ethereum after the recent pullback, according to crypto analyst Justin Bennett. Quoting him here from a recent strategy session, what it's going to take right now from Bitcoin is the close above the $46,000 area to confirm the breakout, flip that area to support. Now 46,200 is going to be key because that's the yearly open. So 46,200 is going to be absolutely critical. We need to see Bitcoin close above that to confirm the breakout. If it does and we see a daily close above 46,200, then this area, 45,600 to 46,200, becomes support. And the next stop is going to be $50,000 to $53,000. Also in today's show, Michael Saylor lays out why Bitcoin beats property as a store of value and what crypto going mainstream would look like. I'm going to be revealing to you the 10 best Michael Saylor quotes from this recent interview. And speaking of Michael Saylor, it was 1 year ago he predicted that Bitcoin will one day have a $100 trillion market cap. And as Dennis Porter shares here, if you don't think Bitcoin will reach $10 million, take it up with Hal Finney. He called for it over a decade ago. Facts. We'll also be taking a look at the overall crypto market. As you can see, Bitcoin, Ether, and all the major alts are currently pumping and in the green. But where's the Bitcoin price likely to go next? Find out all this, plus so much more, in today's show. Here at Crypto News Alerts, I drop a brand new episode every single day. The goal is to get to 100,000 subs along with a $100,000 Bitcoin price. And if you like getting that crypto, be sure to smash that subscribe button and ring that bell to turn on all notifications to receive daily premium crypto news alerts every single day, including weekends, just like this. And today's episode is brought to you by FTX. Do you know they're giving away some crazy amount of Bitcoin? That's right. How much? It could be $1 million. It could be $1.5 million worth. They actually don't know yet. Here's how it works. Check it out.
I've missed out on talking for 33 years, but I'm not missing out this Sunday. FTX is giving away the time their ad runs in Bitcoin, and I'm going to win. For charity.
Now here's how you can enter to win. Simply, when the commercial airs, all you need to do is check this pinned tweet. I'll include it in the show notes below this video, in the description. And once you see the ad actually airing on Super Bowl Sunday, retweet that pinned tweet with the commercial between when the ad actually airs and 11:59 p.m. Eastern for a chance to win. It's that simple. And yes, no purchase necessary and subject to terms and conditions. So go ahead and click my referral link in the description right down below and get ready for Super Bowl Sunday for your chance to win some free Bitcoin. All right, welcome back to another episode of Crypto News Alerts. How's it going, crypto fam? I'm your host, JV. Holla at your boy in the live chat. Now, the Bitcoin network hash rate has recorded yet another all-time high hash rate this morning on February 12th, further securing the decentralized ecosystem through a growing network of global Bitcoin miners. Now, the hash rate correlates to the computing power required by miners' computer equipment to confirm a transaction. The recent spike in Bitcoin's network hash rate ensures further security against attacks by deterring bad actors from confirming fraudulent transactions. And right here, you can see, brought to you by Y Charts, the Bitcoin hash rate over the past year. Now, as evidenced by this screenshot, the network hash rate jumped 31.69% from 188 exahashes per second to 248 exahashes per second in just one day. Moreover, the Bitcoin network's hash rate levels rose 54.33% over the past year. And previously, China's blanket ban on crypto mining and trading led to concerns about the security of the Bitcoin network. And as the Asian country contributed to 34.25% of the total Bitcoin mining hash rate until June 2021, with miners eventually finding refuge in other crypto-friendly countries, the Bitcoin network saw a sharp recovery, eventually surpassing the previous all-time highs. And as you can see here in this chart, currently the miners residing in the United States contribute to the highest terms of the global hash rate of the Bitcoin network at 35.4%. And also a recent analysis from January concluded that the industry players believe that the Bitcoin hash rate will continue to grow. Despite the investors' panic induced by the Bitcoin price roller coaster, industry experts pointed out that the Bitcoin network has become verifiably stronger than ever before. That's right. And as Michael Levitt, co-founder and chairman and CEO of Core Scientific, told Cointelegraph that he fully anticipates for the Bitcoin global hash rate to continue growing at an aggressive price. However, he mentioned that this growth is dependent upon the price of Bitcoin moving forward, along with the success of the infrastructure currently being built. Also like to point out, Max Kaiser says the Bitcoin price follows the hash rate. So will we see a new Bitcoin all-time high anytime soon? Let me know your thoughts in the comments right down below. And also, more new all-time highs, the most bullish chart in Bitcoin, which is the number of Bitcoin addresses always increasing rapidly. Let's go. And as Van de Pop shares here, don't be fooled by any move of Bitcoin during the weekend. In the end, the price will come back to CME close of Friday. So BTFD, buy that freaking dip. As Bitcoin Magazine shares here, banks will freeze your money when they disagree with you. Bitcoin fixes this. And as Dennis Porter shares, you literally can't freeze a Bitcoin transaction. Freedom of speech at its finest. And he also says that by the end of 2030, the Bitcoin and digital asset industry will have more political power than the banks and military industrial complex combined. Yes, let's go. And as Samson Mao points out, the case for Bitcoin has never been clearer. The fiat monetary system is a tool for surveillance and oppression. Freedom of speech, freedom of assembly, and even the right to bear arms can all be negated when money lacks censorship resistance, privacy, and fungibility. Preach. And before I break down next story of the day, and we discuss El Salvador's Bitcoin law and understanding alternatives to government intervention. But first, let's take a quick look at the overall crypto market. As you can see, Bitcoin barely in the green, up 0.3% for the day, maintaining just above $42,500. We have Ether up 0.25% as well, trading just under $3,000. XRP pumping up 9%, trading at 84 cents. Polkadot up 1.5%, trading at $19, and Solana up 1%, trading at $96.50. But all right, now let's break down our next story of the day. Banking the unbanked in Latin America. In August of 2021, the World Bank reported that nearly half of the Latin American and Caribbean population were unbanked, meaning they had no access to a bank account or other financial services. These unbanked individuals cited the cost of maintaining an account, distance from financial institutions, lack of necessary documentation, and lack of trust among the most common reasons for remaining unbanked. And here in this chart, it shows you the adults around the world without a bank account. Shocking, eh? Now, obviously, being unbanked possesses major challenges, making it difficult for individuals to safely receive payments, save money, transfer funds outside of their communities, or access credit and their credit scores. In short, being unbanked can make it nearly impossible for individuals to perform the daily financial transactions that many of us take for granted. That's why it's so important for Bitcoin to be a legal tender in El Salvador, because over 70% of their adult population were unbanked, and now they all have access to Bitcoin, which is a life changer. And now they all have access to Bitcoin. Now, understanding government intervention, it's important to make the distinction between impact and implementation. While mass adoption of cryptos like Bitcoin can have a profoundly positive impact on unbanked populations, offering a new alternative for accessing vital financial services will bring forth more than a few ways to encourage that adoption. Now let's discuss re-envisioning mainstream adoption. As many governments across Latin America expressed their disinterest in accepting Bitcoin as legal tender, we're beginning to envision alternative options for encouraging mainstream adoption from a more grassroots perspective. Here are the 5 key factors we must consider: mobile access, education, financial barriers, institutional adoption, and Bitcoin alternatives. Let's start with promoting mobile accessibility. For the mass adoption of crypto to take root, financial technology companies involved in the crypto space must offer mobile-friendly solutions to users. In Latin America and the Caribbean, less than 50% of the population has fixed broadband connectivity, while 87% of the population lives within the range of a 4G signal. That's a 37% increase in the number of individuals able to access financial services when they're made available on mobile devices. If fintechs can create financial solutions for mobile mobile phones, they can make it more convenient and intuitive for new users to engage with this novel technology. And as you can see here in this chart, it shows the growth in smartphone connections across Latin America, and it's projected by the year 2025, there's over 524 million smartphone users just in Latin America itself. Now, of course, offering educational services is a given, and also breaking financial barriers, of course, to begin transacting at all, be it through traditional or technical financial services, users must have basic funds. That's why I love what Nayib Bukele did with giving everybody in El Salvador, $30 in free Bitcoin to encourage them to use the Shivo app. Now let's discuss encouraging institutional adoption. The final piece of the puzzle is institutional adoption. UBI education and mobile access will only get new users, especially otherwise unbanked individuals. So far, if they cannot see opportunities to transact using digital currencies in everyday life. Now let's discuss branching out from Bitcoin. Obviously, there are other cryptocurrencies that offer low gas fees that can get the job done as far as adoption, but we all know Bitcoin is the king of all crypto, and all the other countries around the world are watching right now. In El Salvador, it's also important to think local. El Salvador's decision to implement Bitcoin as a legal tender may have emerged in recognition of crypto's potential to benefit a huge portion of the country's population, but we cannot expect all countries to follow in its footsteps. The Bitcoin game theory is very real. I think many other Latin American and other impoverished countries that are being taken advantage of by the IMF are likely to adopt Bitcoin as legal tender as the dominoes continue to fall in place. Now, before I break down next story of the day, here's what's next for Bitcoin and Ethereum after the recent pullback, according to crypto analyst Justin Bennett. But first, let's take a quick look at the overall crypto market cap, sitting at $1.9 trillion with almost $65 billion in volume in the past 24 hours. The current Bitcoin dominance is 42.3%, with the Ether dominance at 18.4%. And checking out the top gainers within the top 100 cryptocurrencies for the week, you can see the gainers in the green: Leo up 29%, KDA up 20%, DFI up 25%, XRP up almost 26%, CRO up 12.4%, IOTX up 11.6%, and Shiba up 30%. But all right, now let's break down our next story of the day. Closely followed crypto strategist and trader Justin Bennett is mapping out what's ahead for Bitcoin and Ethereum as the crypto market shows signs of uncertainty. In a new strategy session, Bennett says that Bitcoin must surmount a crucial critical resistance level to open up the path to recovery above $50,000. Quoting him here, what it's going to take right now from Bitcoin is a close above the $46,000 area to confirm the breakout, flip that area to support. Now, 46,200 is going to be key because that's the yearly open. So 46,200 is going to be absolutely critical. We need to see Bitcoin close above that to confirm the breakout. If it does, and we see a daily close above 46,200, then this area, 45,600 to 46,200, becomes support. And the next stop is going to be $50,000 to $53,000. So there you have it. Now, Bennett also says that Bitcoin could potentially retrace before it takes off, quoting him here. But I do also think there's a good chance we can see a pullback into support down here, maybe around 42,000, maybe just below it before we get that move higher. Now, turning to Ethereum, Bennett says that the second largest crypto asset by market cap needs to turn that $3,200 resistance level to support in order to surge higher. Quoting him here, Ethereum has to get above this trend line up here, up around $3,200, maybe $3,250. So it needs to be clear this area on a daily closing basis to flip it to support and expose $3,600. In the meantime, if we were to see a pullback, keep an eye on $2,800 to $2,900. Now, Bennett is also considering the possibility of a bullish pattern emerging for Ethereum, as he shares here. Keep in mind too, there is a chance if we see a bounce from there, if we see a pullback to this area, 28 to 2,900, then we look at what we could be forming here, inverse head and shoulders. Now, traders see the inverse head and shoulders formation as a bullish pattern, indicating that a major market reversal is in sight. So there you have it. And to watch the entire video with Justin Bennett entitled Bitcoin Yearly Open, check the show notes below the video in the description. And before I break down our final story of the day, Michael Saylor lays out why Bitcoin beats property as a store of value and what crypto going mainstream would look like, as well as we revisit his throwback prediction from 1 year ago, where Michael Saylor says that one day Bitcoin will have a $100 trillion market cap. And we also speculate on a $10 million Bitcoin price prediction. But first, I want to remind you to smash that show more button right below this video in the description for a detailed analysis of what's going on in the crypto market. This goes for all 100 plus videos videos right here on my YouTube channel. Also, some very helpful resources for you to plug into, including my crypto merch store, now live at merch.cryptonewsalerts.net. Also have a daily letter, which goes out to over 30,000 subscribers every single day. To subscribe, visit letter.cryptonewsalerts.net. Also have a blog I update daily, which can be found at cryptonewsyes.com. Also be sure to smash that subscribe button and ring that bell to turn on all notifications and help support the movement. You can also follow me on Spotify and iTunes. And if you're listening to the pod, be sure to check out the YouTube channel at cryptonewsalerts.net for the full premium experience with video. And of course, you can follow me on crypto Twitter, Facebook, Telegram, and TikTok. So wherever you're at, be sure to follow me there. But all right, now let's break down our final story of the day, shall we? MicroStrategy CEO Michael Saylor talked about why Bitcoin is the best store of value in a recent interview, soon after vowing to stick with buying Bitcoin, the digital asset, even as it comes under pressure. The noted Bitcoin evangelist also shared his thoughts on digital assets going mainstream and why cryptocurrency isn't the right term. So here are the top 10 best quotes from this recent interview with Michael Saylor. Number one, if you're going to buy any long-dated asset, but especially if you're going to buy property, and if you're going to buy Bitcoin, if you wouldn't hold it for a decade, you shouldn't hold it for 10 minutes. Sage advice. Number two, the inability to store your economic energy in the form of property or money over time is an economic death sentence. Number three, property has been the solution. The problem with property is property has a maintenance cost. Property also has a tax bill every year, say 2%, 1%, 0.5%. That's the second problem. The third problem is you can't decompose property into a million little pieces, ship it all around the world, and recompose the property. So property doesn't serve money very well. It's hard to break off a tenth of your building and buy a car with a tenth of a building. Property, unlike Bitcoin, can't act as money. Facts. Number five, the idea of being able to work for 30 years and save a lot of money. You can't live off the money that you save for the rest of your life. The reason is because the store value was broken. So what happens is everybody is stampeded into risk assets, and you don't have to bet on Peloton or GameStop or guess. Number six, the problem with gold coins is that gold coins will only be worth 1/10 as much in 100 or in 50 years as it is today. And the other problem is I can't easily move them around. I want to move $1 billion of gold from here to Tokyo. It takes 3 months and $5 million. I can't decompose it and recompose it. Number seven, the entire world should shift to dollars and Bitcoin if they can move them on crypto rails at the speed of light. The problem is a lot of people can't figure out how to do that yet, and still a lot of people in the world misunderstand what Bitcoin is. Number eight, so the mainstream application of crypto is it's a savings account in cyberspace for people that have neither the means nor the wherewithal or the inclination to run their own hedge fund. Number nine, Bitcoin is not competing with the dollar. It's not a currency. Noting the definition of a currency is it can be used as a medium of exchange without a taxable event. And number 10, cryptocurrency is the worst term because legally it's not a currency. Crypto money is an intellectual term, but the problem is most people equate money with currency, and so they come down with the same cognitive traps. Crypto property is much better. And here's bonus quote number 11. El Salvador has got a lot of friction because they are characterizing it as currency and not property. If they had simply said, we're going to use the dollar as a medium of exchange, and then we're going to use Bitcoin as a store of value, and Bitcoin is property and the dollar is currency, you would have none of those sparks flying around referring to the FUD from the IMF. Now, speaking of Michael Saylor and his bullish price predictions, it was 1 year ago. He said that Bitcoin will one day have a $100 trillion market cap, even as the price dies. When he was interviewed on CNBC's Squawk Box, and here's some of the thoughts he had to share. There's a $500 trillion monetary planet, and the outer layer is currency. Then you've got stocks, bonds, real estate. There's $10 trillion worth of gold in there, $1 trillion of Bitcoin in there. Bitcoin is going to flip gold, and it's going to subsume the entire gold market cap. And then he goes on to share, then it's going to subsume negative yielding sovereign debt and other monetary indexes until it grows to $100 trillion. Once it gets to 10 trillion, its volatility will be dramatically less. He said, as it marches towards 100 trillion, you're going to see growth rates fall and volatility fall, and it's going to be a stabilizing influence in the entire financial system of the 21st century. Now let's have some fun and run some math. At today's Bitcoin price, 42,500, if we were to hypothetically say Bitcoin 100x's in price From here, we're talking about a $4.25 million Bitcoin price. And I don't think that's so far-fetched because as Dennis Porter points out here, if you don't think Bitcoin will reach $10 million, take it up with Hal Finney. He called for it over a decade ago, quoting him here, as an amusing thought experiment. Imagine that Bitcoin is successful and becomes the dominant payment system to use throughout the world. Then the total value of the currency should be equal to the total value of all the wealth in the world. Current estimates of total worldwide household wealth that I have found range from $100 trillion to $300 trillion. And with 20 million coins, that gives each coin a value of about $10 million. So the possibility of generating coins today with a few cents to compute time may be quite a good bet, with a payoff of something like 100 million to 1. Even if the odds of Bitcoin succeeding to this degree are slim, are they really 100 million to 1 against? Something to think about. Rest in peace, Hal Finney. And now for a quick recap of what I covered with you here in today's show. Bitcoin network hash rate explodes to a new all-time high. We also discuss El Salvador's Bitcoin law and understanding alternatives to government intervention, as well as here's what's next for Bitcoin and Ethereum after the recent pullback, according to crypto analyst Justin Bennett. And we also discuss Michael Saylor laying out why Bitcoin beats property as a store of value and what crypto going mainstream would look like, as well as his throwback prediction of Bitcoin one day having a $100 trillion market cap. But where do you feel the Bitcoin price is likely to go next? Let me know in the comments right down below.